It is worrisome, very worrisome, that this joint statement is so imprecise. What the United States has gained is vague and unverifiable at best. What North Korea has gained, however, is tangible and lasting.
I have to be honest with you, this is the weakest statement I have ever seen come out of any engagement with North Korea.
Democrats slamming the president's historic agreement in Singapore. Here now is Harry Kazianis. He is Director of Defense Studies at the Center for the National Interest, and Rebecca Heinrichs, a Hudson Institute Senior Fellow. Rebecca, what did you think of their assessment there? What North Korea has gained is lasting. They really got the better of us here, even though we got the hostages back. You know, we're moving towards denuclearization. I don't know. What's your take?
Well, in the case of Senator Schumer, you know, Senator Schumer was opposed to the Iran deal during the Obama administration, and then he came back around and supported the Iran deal when President Trump wanted to withdraw from the Iran deal. So a lot of these folks, you just have to sort of disregard what they're saying. I will say, though, I am still sort of neutral on the outcome of the summit because this document that came out was very vague. It only says that the North Koreans are willing to work towards denuclearization of the Korean Peninsula. It doesn't really say what they think that means. And so, you know, I'm neutral. I think condemnation is too early. I think praise and victory laps are too early. We got to see what comes out in the next, I would say, few weeks, mid-July. We want to see if the North Koreans can actually show us what they've got and get our inspectors in there to start actually dismantling their program.
So, Harry, you were correct when you predicted that it was going to fall apart. Before you gave us, like, you know, Friday afternoon, this thing's going to fall apart. It happened on Thursday. Here's what you said then.
Just reading all the tea leaves here, I think it's pretty clear, Melissa. The summit is dead. It's 6 feet
Really?
under. Yeah,
Wow.
it's toast, to be honest with you.
Harry, real quick, prediction.
No meeting. I say the North Koreans start testing missiles within 30 days.
Well, all right. You're a very good sport for coming back on with us. What do you think happens from here? Because, you know, like I said, it's like 50-50. You called it the first time. Second time, obviously, it came together. But you know, you can't be right all the time.
It's true. It's true. Look, honestly, I wish, Melissa, he had canceled again. I mean, the challenge here is this. We still don't know if Kim Jong-un is willing to give up his nuclear weapons or not. I think history tells us we've been down this road before. You know, if you compare the joint statement that we signed yesterday to the 1994 statement that the Clinton administration signed, joint statements in the six-party talks, they're very, very similar. So, look, I give President Trump all the credit in the world for trying to do this. You know, he's giving his opponents on the left ammunition. So, look, I give him credit for that. But I think within the next 30 days, we need to go to the North Koreans and say, look, you've got 30 days to either put up your nuclear weapons and a plan to denuclearize or not. If they're not willing to denuclearize, it's max pressure 2.0. And we need to apply those sanctions on steroids.
So, Rebecca,
I think that's the only way.
I think what's different now this time, because Harry said, you know, what's different between now and then, when, you know, he mentioned the Clintons. At that point, President Clinton handed over a giant mountain of cash, which is something that President Trump did not do, has not done. He hasn't lightened up on the sanctions. He has a whole nother set of sanctions on his desk ready to go. One of the other big differences, General Jack Keane says, is that it's very clear that in the past, when the Kim regime lied about what they were doing, and like with the Clintons, there was absolutely no consequences. And this time around, there has already been consequences from the start with all the sanctions, and it's very clear that President Trump will do something about it. Do you agree with General Jack Keane that this time is, in fact, different?
No, I do think that's different. Context is everything here. You know, a lot of people have told me, say, Rebecca, you were so hard on the Obama administration. If President Obama had done this, you would be so upset. And I said, but here's the difference. President Obama had Secretary of State Kerry, and he had Ben Rhodes and Susan Rice as his advisors. And President Trump has Ambassador Bolton, and he has Mike Pompeo in there. So there's a difference here. President Trump has kept sanctions in place. He has said that we've got 300 sanctions ready to go if the North Koreans start to go the other direction. We have put a pause on military exercises. I find that just regrettable, except that that's the easiest thing that we can bring back if they start to go the other way. So there's still a lot of strong, backing still in place. And as long as President Trump is willing to actually keep that credible and keep that there, then there's a lot that's different here than the previous administrations.
And Harry, you know, back to the subject at hand where we started with the Democrats that were condemning this. I mean, it's hard to listen to people who expect more of President Trump and hold him to a higher standard than they did themselves with talking about Iran and letting Iran to collect its own samples. No U.S. inspectors there. Obviously, that's not something that the president in this case would accept. You know, and Democrats are sort of clamoring for more than they demanded in the case of Iran, and it feels hypocritical.
Oh, yeah. I mean, look, the Democrats are going to play politics. Anything that Trump does is bad. I think that's very clear. I mean, I think that's pretty obvious. But look, I think where we need to go here is we're at a fork in the road once again when it comes to North Korea. We have to make a decision as a country what we want to do. And I think the best strategy here is we don't want to waste any more time. We give the North Koreans a little time to come to the table.
I mean, what is unclear to you about what is going on, Harry? Who needs to make a decision? I think it's been really transparent what the president wants to do and what the country wants to do, and he's pressed forward with it.
Then let's do it.
What do you think that was?
Give the North Koreans an ultimatum. If they're not willing to give up the nuclear weapons, let's move on.
That's what they signed, giving up the weapons. I don't understand.
Yeah, they have to do it. They have to do it. We can keep talking until we're blue in the face, but it's not going to work.
I think what needs to happen at this point is that we need to have just a timeline on this so that we actually get some inspectors into North Korea so we can see what they have. And here's the other thing, Melissa, that's so important. Even if they stop testing, that's a big win. We want them to stop testing. They can still produce nuclear weapons and missiles in those mountains. We can't let them do that.